Greetings, all praise the King. We are continuing our discussion on police tactics. Let us remember what the role of the police is. They are to protect commerce. They function as a company. They depend on revenue, and they are in a position to collect revenue. Therefore, they have corrupted themselves, and they have become subservient to a particular class. We call this world class. This world class has interest in all geographic locations. They utilize their institution framework, which extends to the municipalities, protected by the police. Now, police are masters of deception. They lie their way in and out. And they work hand in hand with communication channels to project their image and of course this image endorses their cause. When disputes are had, they are able to work with the local media, whether it be television or newspaper, and they are able to print their side of the story. I'll give you an example. This is not something I really like to bring up. I get for sake of illustration. This was an incident that occurred many years ago. My wife and I were both assaulted by the police. Lakeland, Florida, which are becoming known for these kinds of attacks. The story is, of course, from the police, and it is really typical. Being assaulted without any cause and having the perpetration put on you and your wife. But we're living in a world where these kinds of stories are believable because people have been branded. We've been discussing these are beast brains. We will discuss this further. They are programmed. They communication channels connect to these beast brains. These people have been conditioned to intercept these signals. It sounds far out. Yet, if you take people away from these communication specialists and observe their behavior, you'll see it's not far-fetched. It's like Henry Thoreau going to Walden Pond. Once people get those devices, they go to that place, worship the beast, and the beast tells them what to think. The more, according to this incident, the more absurd, almost detailed, yet extravagant story will win. Because today, people's expectations are increased because they've been programmed. And so even something that would be extremely exciting for most people in the past is dull and boring to many today. Could be like a shootout in the middle of the streets. Like, people would rather see a movie in Hollywood where it's reenacting something because they've been graphicized, trained to respond to high quality visual. It's a fantasy world. But this propaganda is the reason that the story is being measured against other stories. A lot of what these communication channels do is they project this negative aspect of reality, the grotesque occurrences people record. And so they're constantly flooding people with these negative images. Because people are being programmed based on what they're seeing. And so they're going to focus time on certain material and disregard other material. I'll give you another example. Being at the library today doing some research. There was like 4 people killed in a place in Georgia, 1999. It was like 2 daughters, a woman and her lover, by a police officer. Again, when you look it up, there's very little material to speak about this case. But if you had an ordinary citizen commit the same crime, you looked it up, you might find more material. In particular, pictures, because there was no pictures of the victims. Even the officer. So what is being shown? In today's age, the youth are being shown images, language, that it connecting the dots in their heads. If they see a word and a picture, for example, and they don't really have time to be able to search out for themselves. You see how the media complex now has gone to this pushing the feeding process, so that the material is generated. They talk about the AI. Well, this AI is bigger than just these algorithm things. It's true. That thing is projecting the image in its likeness, which is unnatural. In other words, they're going to decide, whoever controls the wealth, think about kind of gap in the lifestyles, you'll see why they're afraid to lose it. Whoever controls the wealth is going to determine the behavior, the culture, the so-called normalization. And they're able to predict the outcome. We talked about this for some time now. I think the Babylon called the input to output mapping. But regardless, they're following people on their devices. They're so-called supposed to know more about you than you know about yourself. This big line. And so that's supposed to give them some kind of supernatural authority. And now what they're gonna do is they're gonna watch people. They say, oh, this person has a likelihood of becoming a criminal, so let's provide for extra scrutiny on this individual. Truthfully, what they're afraid of is being exposed. They don't want to be exposed. Put that light on the table for all to see what's really going on. You see the gap in the lifestyle, you should know something. Most people. So, propaganda, the way they present themselves as a white knight, promotional, public relations. They're going to go out, shake hands. They're going to put events on. This in itself is not admissible guilt, yet it is foretelling. If the resources are going to strictly promote oneself, then maybe people are getting ripped off. They're going to put women on the front line. Just something they've been doing recently. They want their cases to be presented by women when it comes to this blame game. They're going to accuse people of being violent or part of some kind of extreme ideology. So when they proceed, they do so in their courts. Those are their worshiping centers. They have trials, and the results become the case studies that are used in further justification. It's not always this way, yet they're able to sell their way to others based on this. It's as if the more laws they write, the more perfect they become. You know, they like to use their assassinated victims to, again, provide for credence to sell their shit. And I'm speaking of, you know, Martin King when he speaks of the arc of justice is, the arc of the universe is long yet advanced towards justice. And they pretend that somehow this means they're going to pass another law to make things more perfect. Now, there's this work into the DNA to make pretend that a certain sequence of DNA, the way the DNA looks, is perfect, and that it has become defected over time. Another lie, yet it's likely to be believed by the beast brains if it's projected onto them. Talk about provocation. Again, the police are looking to promote themselves, so they're going to play the victim. They're going to make you look like the aggressor. They could do this in so many ways. You know, today they use their devices. You hear about the shooter, you know, in the other, this country, that country, and the other country. They're learning that behavior through the internet. It's being projected onto them. Those results, people getting killed, plays into the hands of these protectors. Because, again, it's now connecting with the beast brains who are saying, we need these protectors. When you do a search on the internet, this programming will show you all kinds of mugshots. This is another form of propaganda. It used to be, you know, people had the option to display themselves in the picture as they chose. No, not today. Now that it's on the internet, even the police have gone to the lowest tactics to take pictures of people when they're not realizing they're being on camera. You know, if they have someone who is not willing to show them a bad picture, they'll take a picture of you when you're not looking. And make it seem like it's legit. Because they're trying to frame people. That's the whole thing. It's a framing process. They're going to paint the picture of who you are. They're collecting their data. As many pictures they can get on as many people as they can get. Because if anything goes against them, they're going to use their communication channel to frame. It's pretty elementary. And it's effective. People buy it. You know, they want to believe it. A lot of people want to believe that, oh, there's other people that are doing worse things, you know. And the other thing is people are doing things they shouldn't be. And so you know, when something happens, it's just like the Judas Iscariot move. You know, when something happens to someone else, they want to cheer, you know, the police. You get them because then they feel like, you know, they're gonna get off the hook. That's how they think. You know, but in the end, the beast turns on the whore.